G'day and welcome to the start of an Evil Bank Manager campaign run. So basically I've never finished one of these runs. I've just had a couple of quick looks at the basics of the game on release day, which is about a week ago now. So we're going to jump straight in here. Before we do, one thing I noticed just then while setting other things up, I've actually animated this for a day-night cycle on the main menu, which looked pretty cool. So yeah, we're going to jump in as England. Cost of maintaining branches in the country Ireland. Hey, either they've done an update or this just happens to have random problems, because it's actually saying the countries now. Before it just said like country 45 or whatever. Yeah, it's all fixed. Cool. So maybe a lot of the bugs that I noticed last week have been fixed up. So yeah, we're going to start with England because it's the only one that I have the slightest bit of an idea about. And as England, or English culture, I guess you should say, Ireland is where we're going to start. Not sure if the game has any music either, so I'll keep the other one on in the background. And if you are watching this on Twitch, not YouTube, then you'll probably have a few issues because it's saying there's a lot of dropped frames tonight for some reason. You've been having a few internet problems locally. Alright, so to win the game, we get 200 moves, which is 50 years, because you don't go monthly, it's season by season. You need to be the first one to create the Federal Reserve System, and buy 51% of IMF shares. I'm not sure if that is actually accurate or not. We'll have a look at that once we get into it a bit. But we're going to skip the tutorial, because all it basically does is get you to buy the thing and show you where a couple of the options are, like what the exchange is and all that sort of thing. So we're going to start off in Western Ireland. We're going to open this up for 20,000, I guess we'll call them ducats. I was going to call them florins, but that would make more sense later on. And right, this upgrade button isn't really upgrade. It's actually this we'll have a look at in a second, because we've got a bunch of things we want to do before we hit the actual first turn. So to start with, we've got all of the buttons down here are all of the buttons on the screen except for the Federal Reserve System, this building here, which will get unlocked into the game a little. First thing we need to do is hire people, so let's just go here. A lot of these things are replicated in different menus. So for example, the farms, resources, real estate, and special resources, I think they call it, are all basically the same menu because they're all here. So I won't be using all the various ones. I think I'll always click on the farm one, just 'cause it's the closest one to the other things we're going to be doing. But yes, to start with, we will hire people. We need somebody for investments, somebody for the sort of actual bank loan system, credits, somebody for espionage, which is really just diplomacy, and somebody for the guard, which you very rarely use, really. You just use the guards to get back money from people that don't pay off their loans. So to start with, find an amateur, find pros, find an expert. Well, they've renamed that as well. Used to be basic, medium, and expensive or something. So at the moment it's showing as costing the same amount. So we want experts, and they're not experts anyway, so I think this has absolutely no effect. Basically, we want people with over 5 skill. We'll hire this guardsman because that matters the least. And then we're not going to go for 4s. So these will each cost some gold to do the searches. 5 for credits, we'll hire him. 5 for spies, not great, but we'll stick with him. It's better than spending extra on the searches. We need somebody for investment. There we go. So we'll stick with 5s to start with. Once we get the first upgrades, as you can see here, we can have 1 staff person in each one. As soon as you unlock the first upgrades, you get better people in the searches anyway. So for credits, we use our C. Not sure if that always highlighted like that either. We'll put them in the investments. Espionage is this guy, and this is our guardsman. So the other thing you want to look for when you're doing these is you want it high in one of these, but you want it low in the rest, because as you can see, his cost per season is the sum of all of these. And since you're only using 1 stat, it's better off if they've got 0s or very low and everything else. Although only spending 11 when you're dealing with thousands, I guess doesn't really matter. So the other thing is the way these work. The higher his skill changes this here. So the maximum investment's 1,000, Not sure exactly how that works out yet. I think it's some kind of multiplier to the actual investments or something. It's not actually 1,000, or it adds it on to the things maybe. Credits, same thing, gives him 1,000. Espionage here, the influence gain is very important. So this is the department that we're going to care the most about is the espionage. We'll get this up as quickly as we can once we've unlocked the extra staff members. And then the fear from the guardsmen can come into it later on. We'll see that, but otherwise early game makes no difference at all. So some of the other ones, we're going to be using this a lot. Pretty sure, yeah, there's no investments we can do from the start. Not allowed to lend any money out at the start either, so we'll have to go to turn 1 to do anything. The guardsmen's pretty sure they store their fear, so it starts off at 0 and we're gaining 100 per season is how that's going to work. And in here for the espionage, so we've only unlocked Ireland, and then we've got different amounts of points that we can spend for different levels of reputation. So at the moment our relations are on neutrality +3. I think it's 5 in each one, so it's hostile or something, and then neutral, and then something else, and then something else. Haven't figured out these here yet, how to unlock them and what they do or anything. I did play long enough just to get this all the way to the maximum to see if that unlocked something, and it didn't, so that's something I've still got to figure out. The other thing is you seem to be better off going for meetings rather than pushing things up, so we'll just do a meeting whenever we have the influence for it. So if we go back and look at our staff member, the diplomat here, Neil Holiday, so he's gaining 50 influence per tick, so per turn we get 50, and we want him to be spending, I think it's 190, yeah, it was 190 to improve this by 180. So this will trend down by about 50 per turn, and because we're only gaining 50, we're just going to be trying to hold this on neutrality. So this will probably drop down to a 3, and then we'll bring it back up to a 4, and it'll sort of stay there until we've got a better spy / diplomat. The other big thing is over here in producing weapons. This is going to be vital. So we need wood or steel in the start of the game to create weaponry that we'll use for the conflicts that happen throughout the world, or the ones we care about. And at the moment we are smack bang on the bottom because the other guys haven't spent their 50,000 ducats yet. So let's just go next turn. Alright, so it's now spring. We should be able to invest. Alright, it's a very expensive iron line, which is perfect. So that's a lot of our money gone. So 11,161 in there already. So what we could do is find our industry. We could sell this for a profit now. We'd make 1,000 ducats. I think we spent 10,000 something on there. But we're actually better off keeping this for the production. So they're actually saying worth 2.3 for an iron at the moment. If we were to buy iron, it would cost us 4 to buy, and then I'm pretty sure we'd only be able to sell it for about half that. But yes, we will buy resources only when we need to. Basically, we want to create everything off of our own back with the things that we buy. And then we can make a 6% profit per turn for 4 turns off the price of 1,000 with 10% non-payment chance. So we'll give that loan out. If we'll go back in here to take a look, there is now a borrower here for the next 4 turns. If they hit this 10% that they don't want to pay, then it becomes a debt. And then we get to choose whether we send the guys out to send the guardsmen out to take back the land or the money. I think you get a bit of a choice whether you take the land that was invested in it, or like if you take the collateral, or if you just get the money off them. Otherwise, right, we're going to be making iron. We'll use that next turn. So jump back into the investments. Can produce wood. Alright, so 29.74. We'll do this now, but then we'll immediately sell that because I don't care about wood. Industry was 29.74. So we've made a small profit. Basically, we're only going to be able to invest so much in Ireland. So if we take a look at Western Ireland here, maximum investments, there was only 28,400 that can be invested in. We've already invested nearly half of that. A lot of that was our iron mine. So we've got to be careful not to overinvest in things that don't make as much money as other things. So there's still 17,668 that could be invested in Ireland. Once you get too close to that, you just can't push the button in here to invest anything else. So you're better off just making the profit like we did just then. And the other thing is, we can't get a second one because we've lent out the maximum that we can for now. Alright, next thing, we should have just produced some iron. So now we get to choose whether we want to turn that iron into halberds or swords, or if we want to sell it on the exchange. So if we were going to sell iron, would make us 773 ducats, actually 774.8 because there's a partial in there that you have to sell all to get rid of the slight extra amount. So 775, let's call that. We would make a bigger profit by turning it into, let's say, halberds, because the other thing is we've only got 400 available work. This is going to use 100, whereas if we went for ones that use less iron, profit might be similar, but we're using up 1/3 more work. So we're going to go just for halberds along the way until we've got so much work that it doesn't matter, then we can look at the actual cost-benefit analysis. So yes, we produce 100 halberds, we order them, we have them straight away. Then we could look in the exchange and look in arms. We could sell those 100 for 893. So we've already used, what was it, 775 ducats worth of iron to make 893 ducats worth of halberds. But we're not going to sell them because we're going to wait for there to be a war so we can do some war profiteering. Pretty sure one of the first wars is always England versus Scotland, so we'll go with that. And sell to the English side so that they can take the Scottish lowlands away from Scotland, which will leave them just with the Scottish Highlands, which will make the cost to open up Scotland a little cheaper. It'll be halved pretty much. But we'll consider that when we actually have the money anyway. So that's all for this turn. Back to our capital. What can we invest in? Grain. Well, again, I don't think it's worth it, so we'll just buy it. We'll come in here to manage the farm, and that was a nice tidy profit. So it does cost you money to sow, and then you only get production every 4 turns or something. Haven't even bothered sorting that out properly. Just seems better to get rid of it and just focus on weaponry for the war profiteering. And I think there's still 2 or 3 turns left on this. 2 turns left until we can worry about that again. And pretty much nothing else we need to do. So, next turn. So these first turns go really quickly. There's only 200 in the game. So it's 15:05 at the moment. We go till 15:50. So these early turns go on really fast, but they'll slow down once we've got more things to do. Now, this is a little better. Furs are a luxury good. They're actually worth keeping the investment around to sell them. Now, I think we missed this last turn, but it doesn't matter. We will create some more halberds. And then go to the next turn, just waiting for war to break out. Nothing yet. So there was no war in the world. It means there have been no wars in the world yet. We'll have this event list, we'll notice wars up there first. Need to keep investing. More grain. Alright, 94.84. We'll buy it. And then we'll flip it for a quick profit. Was 94.84, so about 1,000. So we've got 12,000 in there, it's pretty good. Want to get as much money as we can together before the wars start as well. So we want to invest in England if we've got more than we're going to need. Let's just do this now. Really don't need to do this every turn. There's no benefit to doing it all straight out, but it's fine. Next turn. The investments, this is something you need to check every turn though. Alright, grain, 1980. Make a tidy profit flipping this. Yeah, it's only a couple of hundred. So later on it's not really worth doing that, but early game, when you don't have a lot of cash, it's a lot better idea. And this is available again, so we'll make a 6.7% profit every turn over 3 turns. Higher non-payment chance. We'll give out that loan. And then no investment. Credits. Could just keep clicking on that. Yeah, they did pay it back. Usually pop-ups telling you if they don't, but we haven't got any of the other pop-ups yet, so I'm not sure. Next turn. Investments. Alright. The purchase price is higher than the base, which isn't great, but they do produce gold, which gives us money every turn, which is good. So one of the things I did notice is that expenditures expenditures always come before income. So if your gold is ever lower than this, as soon as you click next turn, it's game over. Doesn't matter if you've got 10,000 ducats coming in, as soon as it goes negative from your expenditures, it's game over. So you just got to make sure gold is always higher than expenditures. Alright, so what was this turn? We already did that. Let's go produce halberds. I haven't seen any point in balancing these out or anything either. Alright, so 770 works, so it is coming up gradually. I'm not sure when this unlocks either. Must be when the actual Federal Reserve IMF thing starts. And wars have begun, so it's not just this one. Ottomans versus Crimea, and Mamluks versus... Is that... It's not Tunisia, is it? Alright, so there's one war there. That's the Ottomans versus Crimea. And then down here we've got Tunisia... Oh, Dongola, of course. So it's Mamluks versus Dongola. We'll look at this when it comes up for England, but we could basically decide who wins this war by joining one side or the other and just financing them. Only time that's harder is when there's more people involved, like in the HRE. But now we don't care. Waiting for the English-Scottish war to start. So this was this turn. Alright, next turn. How long was this one? We've got one more turn on that. Alright, back in to the investments. Buy some more furs. Now, we've bought 2 investments into fur, but it doesn't actually work like that. If we were to go and take a look in our luxury properties, there's only one, because it conglomerates everything from the one province. It says new, even though one of them's not new, but you can't just sell one fur farm and not another within the same province. It's just fur, or like fur in Western Island or fur in Eastern Island, etc. So the objects just counts the number of luxury resources in the number of counties, and that's where your limits come from. So we've got this in 1, so we could do real estate in 5 provinces, and then we'd be blocked from doing any more if we had access to more than 5 provinces, which at the moment we only have access to 1. Same thing here. So we want to invest as much as possible in this, so sort of waiting for more of that to come up. But for now, that's all good. So we'll jump onto the exchange. We are going to sell, we're never selling industrial stuff, we're going to sell just luxury items. So at the moment, the price we're getting is 9.9, and the forecasts, I'm not sure exactly how this works, but they're all saying it's lower. I think it might be low chance, medium chance, high chance, something like that. But it's on the way down, so we definitely want to sell these now. So don't accidentally click sell all, that will get rid of our weaponry. So we just want to sell what we selected. Gives us a nice little bit of income. We got quite a bit worth of resources, that's good. So just come into our armory, make more halberds. Yeah, let's just keep doing this for now. I was going to mention the difference between bows and crossbows, but because we're not making them, doesn't really matter. Alright, little money, but good enough. Looking for the start of the English War. It's like it's not happening yet. The other thing is we can see a summary. Even after they all finish, these will stay on here as well. Denmark versus Lübeck. Mamluks versus Dongola. The other thing is when we choose where we want to expand, it doesn't have to be near us, so you can go literally anywhere in the world. So we might want to expand. We know that Castile is going to overrun Portugal, and then there'll be little battles down here, but I don't know, we want to go with a country that might expand, so I think we'll just go into Scotland. After the English take this off them, we'll back Scotland and try and get them to push back through England. Maybe. Next turn. A few more wars have begun. Bavaria, Salzburg. I'm going to say this is the longest it's ever taken England to attack Scotland. No more property in the country. Open up new countries. Alright, so we've reached that limit that I mentioned before. If we were to take a look in here, available investments 160.4 worth, so we don't get any more options in the thing. I'm pretty happy with the ones we've got though. We've got the only luxury resource in this one. We've got the real estate, and we've got no agriculture, but we're getting good production out of it. So yeah, we're happy with Ireland. If we were to come back here though, we do want to keep up production of halberds. And in the credit release, 5%, high chance of non-payment, but I'm going to keep giving money out to them anyway, rather than miss a turn. And have been forgetting this, of course. Just keep them as close as we can. So you can only do this every turn. You can pick any one of these once per turn. So the only reason to store it up to this level is just so you can buy them all off at the same time. But again, I haven't seen any difference with what their relations actually are. Alright, we could make quite a bit of money. I think we're just going to wait for this war to start though. Is that Brittany versus France? I haven't actually seen that war happen, so it is randomised. Okay. This is where we could back Brittany to beat France, but I would want to buy into Brittany first while they're one province. Well, I guess we're going to wait. We can back Navarre against France or something instead. Or Nevers. I think they've got 2 counties, yeah. Alright, let's just stick with it. This was 3 turns. So I got 2 more on that. Next turn. So no other wars begun. Bavaria versus Salzburg is going to finish soon. So you can see here, Ottomans, Mamluk and Denmark's wars are all finished. Alright, so we can't do anything there, can't do anything there. We'll go into our armory and just keep producing. So now we've got 1,000 halberds ready for a war. And let's not forget to get this guy going for meetings in Ireland. Neutrality +2. Alright. Yeah. Let's just check. Brittany's, yeah, we need 21,000. Then we could... So I'm not sure exactly how it works with them actually taking land off France either. Because it doesn't always seem to work how you'd expect. If we were to look at the actual war screen, it does say something about... It's on one of the other ones. It says which province they're fighting over. But sometimes the defender can take land from the attacker, sometimes they don't. I don't know how that's actually calculated. Say something in the war screen, France versus Brittany. After the battle, the winner will be able to capture the border region of the enemy. War reveals the dark sides, this is why all the property of the captured region will be plundered and lose half the base value. Yeah. It tells you how much you've got in the thing so you know if you want to join it or not. So we could help Brittany win this really easily, but we'd have to sell land in Ireland, which isn't a terrible idea. We've got 30 grand stored in there. Alright, let's go with this. We'll jump in. As long as we can get at least 21,000. We can sell this for a decent profit. So making 800 from 11,000. Alright, so they make about the same profit. I think we will sell this for 11, 27. Yeah, we'd have to sell them both. Alright, so we're going to sell our real estate. We're going to sell our firm manufacturing works. We've still got our industry. This is 28. We'll jump out to the map. We'll come in to Brittany. We will open them up. We'll jump into the war. We're going to join Brittany's side, and we're going to sell them our 1,000 weapons. It's worth 10,000 ducats. They never seem to have any shortage of money. So we'll do this, and now they're going to win because they're way more overinvested than France is. And what we would also like to do is just invest as much of this as we can, but we've got to be careful to keep at least 400 ducats on hand. So we'll do all this. We want 17,400. Round about there. Just bring us down to make sure we don't want to get screwed by miscounting. So I would love to have had the full amount, but basically we give them this investment. This is going to be in furs. We get a nice discount. So what's that? 1.5% discount. We accept that. Now they're absolutely going to smash France. We can deal with this investment stuff later. At the moment, the problem is if we take a look in our buildings. We go to luxury. Now we've got in Brittany, Brittany province under Brittany country. This is disabled at the moment because they're part of a war. You can see already we've made a nice profit if we were allowed to sell this afterwards. Whether you can or not depends on if you've got access to the country. So that's why the first thing I did this turn was buy access to Brittany. So we will be able to sell this if we want to. Otherwise, we're going to be making quite a decent profit off them each turn because of the amount we've got invested in there. And we only spent 17 on that, didn't we? Not the base price. So we spent 17,000. We could sell it for an 8,000 ducat profit, or we can just keep it. But again, can't do it until the war's over. And I don't think there's no, not that we could do anything anyway. Did we do our thing this turn? Nope. So let's start building up our halberds. We don't need to give them to Brittany, so we're going to save them up for the English war. Who is Hungary against? Moldova. Huh. Okay. And the thing is, we don't need to go back to the map to deal with this stuff anymore. We can do it from there. It's funny because these are just for the map screen, so I don't know why they're on there. But next turn, see, we could do this with all the money that's left. Let's just wait till the next turn. Alright, and now we'll be able to spend up to the maximum. Or not, because we haven't made any money yet. That's going to be a problem. So we'll do the halberds. Now, if we went next turn now, it would be game over, because these expenditures would overrun the gold. So what we need to do is make sure that we do sell these, unless the English war started. No. So we'll sell these to Brittany, make enough profit to get by for a little while. And pretty sure there's nothing we can sell in exchange. We do have furs. Alright. Sell them. That'll be what was left from the other one before we sold the fur manufacturing plant or whatever it was. But now it's probably a good idea to get our money to go to work for us. So high chance of non-payment, but we're going to take the risk there so that we can go and use our guardsmen to go and get it back. And let's not forget, like I always do, that we want to go out for a meeting, probably with both of these. Alright, so the thing is, the more countries you open up, the more you have to spend influence on not having hostile relations with them. Something to do with the tax you pay, or something changes. I haven't really looked into it yet. So you've got the tax amount there. I think that might be about the only thing that changes. Expenditures, payment, 48. Alright, so that's our wages that we're paying. Then we're paying tax and resource values. It's the resource we've got left over from the other stuff. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. So we're going to lose a tenth of our money at the end of this turn. But if we go to the map, let's hope that Brittany actually take a bit of France here. Maybe they'll take the Loire. Oh, beautiful. Alright, so at the moment, it shows this as being unlocked as a part of Brittany, but I'm pretty sure... No, it actually did happen automatically. Interesting. You usually have to buy access for the extra ones. I'll just go for a meeting with Brittany. Alright, back in our capital, we want to upgrade our headquarters as soon as we can. We only need 2 regions for that, so we can do it now. Now this quick improvement thing is for buying skin, sapphires, flax to finish off these other ticks. I think it ends up cheaper if you just do it this way, so just do this quick improvement. The next upgrade is when we have 4 regions, so we need to keep expanding to be allowed to do that. But first things first, we want to hire another guy for here. Firstly, I want to upgrade this building. Stone, let's actually work this out then. That's going to be like 2 ducats per stone. If we went to the exchange to purchase stone ourselves, which would be industry, then they cost 4 each. So I don't know if they haven't balanced this properly or not, but I think you're always better off doing the quick improvement. So we'll spend what little money we have on that.